Welcome back to the Circle of Jerks podcast. You are listening to the Week 7 recap edition for the Circle of Jerks. You got the Bob Hartman here next to Peter Lundstedt. Jer Bonet, the raging one. Got Cannonball Kurt. Got Back in Zach Davis.
Oh.
And Fern Gully.
In the house.
Fern Gully in the house.
I thought you were going to do like a wing flutter or something. That's
We
great
don't
for
see
radio.
Yeah.
Hey, I thought that it was bowling ball, Kurt.
Well, yeah, that's right. Kurt, you got
I ran it by my publicist and they said no.
Alright, let's stay Cannonball for now, but it could go down to bowling ball. Obviously, as you know.
I think that might be Ian Smith's name.
Oh,
Shots
well,
fired.
Little preview into what we're going to be talking about today. But we got Zach and Matt as our guests today. Thanks for joining, guys. A couple of hat tips here real quick. As you might have noticed on the YouTube page, if you're watching on YouTube, listening on YouTube, or on the SoundCloud page, we have new avatars. So thanks to Brian D'Angelo on that. They look really awesome.
They were awesome.
Yes.
He's actually started doing a bunch
Spot
of other
on.
people in the league too. So, Rob, yours is going to be missing some parts.
I think best comment I heard last week
Yeah.
was when Robbie chipped his tooth, and D'Angelo goes, "Well, that avatar's gonna be easy."
But he looks good though. I mean, he's already gotten
I know.
his work done. It's
Yes.
unbelievable.
Yep.
He did? Oh yeah. He posted pictures.
Do we have photos of that?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have
no,
photos
we
of
do. I think it's up
Nice.
on the Facebook page.
Well, so we'll stay tuned and we'll see D'Angelo do everybody.
There you go.
Eventually.
Brian, we're committed to doing everybody.
Is it one at a time or?
I don't know. I guess you have to show up on the Circle of Jerks podcast to see your avatar. Also, hat tip to Dave Fose. Updating the website looks awesome, doesn't it?
It does. I love the new look and feel. I mean, we're just becoming more legit as a league, and I know time and time again, Bob, you and I have talked about this. ESPN is right around the corner. I mean,
The Ocho.
Absolutely.
The Ocho. I'm actually shooting for Siete, so
Wow.
we'll see.
High aspirations.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, I saw Dave on the upper deck last night during the last game, and I went over and said something to him and said, thanks. I mean, he puts a lot of hard work into getting this website up and changing everything every week. So we all give crap when we don't see an assist or we don't see a star, but he's got how many people to do. So
I love it.
Yeah,
I love the hockey hub. He's got a lot of people to do.
Yeah, a lot of hard work going into this league, and a lot of unsung heroes. Dave and Brian. Today we're singing the heroes, I guess. All right, that didn't work. So
Consider yourself sung.
Okay, the ratings just went down. Speaking of week 7, you know what struck me the most about week 7?
Ian.
Sorry.
Quite literally, yes. But what I was actually going to say is I think this was the highest attended week ever.
Yeah.
47 of 48 guys showed up. I mean, I don't know if we've ever had a week in the history of this league where only one guy in the entire league was missing, let alone after the expansion.
Can we have a half there? Because Austin was missing for the first
Yeah.
All right,
46
46 and a half.
Probably in the first season there was only 20 guys.
Yeah.
It's fun that a lot of guys stayed too and showed up a bit early. We had some good crowds, especially during the prime games at 6:30. There was a lot of people. There was fun, good energy.
Usually only get that in the playoffs. Other thoughts on the week as a whole?
It was exciting.
I mean, close games. Only one of them was a 1-goal game, but 3 of the 4 games were really pretty close all the way down to the end. With that in mind, Jer Bonet, you want to bring us into the stats for the 6:30 game?
6:30. We have the Furious 5 finishing with 13 against what I wrote down as Pubes with 8 goals. On the Furious 5 side.
This phrasing that's just going to be P.
Yeah. Paul P, 7 goals, 2 assists, and a game star.
2 assists.
Jesse, 2 goals, 0 assists. Gaffey, 2 goals and an assist. Pete Skidmore, 1 goal, 0 assists. Brad with a goal and a 0 assists. Tim Scott, 45 saves. Does somebody have the percentage? Because I didn't do it.
85.
85% and an assist. On the public side, Chris Enright, 2 goals, 3 assists and a game star. Tim Anderson, 1 and 1. Matt G, 2 goals, 0 assists. Chris Lally, 0 goals, 2 assists. Shane, 3 goals, assist, and a game star. Bill Riley, 57 saves, 81% save percentage.
Well, since we have Galuli here with us, Matt, do you want to start us out with thoughts from the game?
Yeah, so we'll start with this, that it's it's never good when your goalie comes to you at the beginning and says he's not feeling that good. So, and when your blood alcohol content's higher than your goals against average, you're not in for a good game. So he held us in, and I mean 85% save percent. He stayed in. I mean the shots from Paul were getting blasted. I think we all did our part trying to get in front of him. I know my legs look black and blue today from the.
You can post them now.
A number of shots that went around the pads that I had on. So.
But doesn't that speak to how good he actually is? I mean, this guy comes into a game after a retirement party, I believe, and he just looked at me, and I don't think he knew that he was there.
Was it the guy that he brought with him's retirement?
Yes. That guy was retiring and driving him home. So, I mean, he played well. The crazy part.
Responsible.
Yeah, at least he's responsible. That's the biggest thing in our league. It's always about being responsible.
Yeah, obviously.
So the thing about me for this game is, to me, I don't know if it was just a different week or if it was a 6:30 game, but you guys look slow. I mean, compared to last week, and I don't know what it really is. To me, I see it as the second that you have a goaltender that you know you can beat, you guys go all out. Mm-hmm. You guys are at a completely different level, but Tim Scott, I mean, you guys are going from Kenton to Tim Scott, who is, hands down, I think the best person at positioning in this league. You and I talked about it last night.
When it comes to positioning, nobody's better than that. Not a single guy in the league as a goalie is better at just pure position.
And I think that's one of the biggest things is that if you have Chris Enright kind of really humming throughout the night, his biggest play is going from right to left and then shooting to the right side of the net. And Tim was playing so far out to block those shots. I mean, what was your game plan coming into the game against him?
As I've been in this league for a number of years, on Tim, it's difficult. You know, some of his downfall is his immobility, his ability or his inability to move left to right. He's come a long way with that. The second part is he takes up a good portion of the net. So, you know, he stands up, he stays up, and he can block the net, and he's got the angles. He knows when you're going to shoot, and he'll step out a foot or two. And next thing you know, you got nowhere to shoot. You just hope for a rebound, and you know we tried our best with that, but it's still a little difficult.
He's having a hell of a year. I mean, this might not be his best save percentage ever, but he's second in the league, and because everyone's save
league's
percentage
down overall.
Yeah, everyone's save percentage is down. So I don't think a lot of people have figured him out yet. And Pete, you're right. The biggest note I took from the game was there was no spring in their step. Mm-hmm. And I said it upstairs because I'm so eloquent. I say stupid crap like there's no spring in their step, whatever that means. But like they looked defeated. They looked defeated from the beginning, and it wasn't an emotional defeat. It just didn't look like they were in it. Like, and I don't know if it was like a letdown from the high last week. I don't know if it was knowing that your goalie might not be at 100% and therefore feeling like, well, what does it matter? I don't know if it was Tim just kind of shutting them down and feeling it was insurmountable. But the passion wasn't there that I'm used to seeing in Public Ed.
But I think you also have to look at Fury's 5. I mean, they're on a 3-game win streak now.
Wait, I was going to go on another whole podcast talking about how the other team lost it instead of how Fury's 5 won.
Well, but that's just going to make them even more furious. So, and I don't think anyone wants to do this right now. So please, everyone start talking about them. I don't know who they play next week, but these guys are on what?
Fury's 5?
Win streak?
Yeah,
4-game win streak right now.
Yeah. We play them next week. Try.
Yeah.
So you want to talk them up as much as you possibly can.
Yeah.
So do it.
Nobody's playing the nobody believes in us card better than Fury's 5. And Paul always loves doing that. Like, he loves it when people are, not believing in him because he champions it. But that whole team is, like, rallying around, like, we're the underdogs. They're, like, 4th in the league right now on a 4-game winning streak, and they're still, like, touting, like, nobody thinks we're, worth a damn. Nobody,
I believed in them last year.
I still
didn't
don't.
work out. You still don't.
Oh, jeez. That was Jeremy, by the way.
I'm all about motivation. Fuck those guys.
John Chatterton said he will believe in them next season.
Next season.
He wants to see how it goes.
He wants to see how it all plays out.
But he hasn't given up on us yet. So.
No, he hasn't.
I would agree in our hustle in the game. They out hustled us. They played. I'm a bigger guy and I don't move as agile as Gaffey or Paul or.
Come on, you're selling yourself short.
I know, right? But they definitely outplayed us. So I give all the credit to them.
But that's how they've won the last 4.
Yeah, notwithstanding our goalie. I mean, he put up a decent number. So he did well. It's just I looked at it as the goals against and what we had to get across Tim, and we needed to get more than 8, and we only got 8. So we had to kind of hold our own on that. But
But shout out to another big guy on your team, Shane Humphrey.
Big
Oh,
show.
yeah, I mean, that was a nice showing, and I've always known, I played with him his first season, I've always known he's capable of that, and it was just nice to see it come to fruition, even if unfortunately it, fell short for the team, but it's cool to see that happen for him.
I also feel like he's capable of wrestling a giraffe to the ground.
Exactly.
Enright's on his team already, though, so.
The other thing that I have to call out, and I'm not just saying this because I got called out for not talking about Furious 5 enough last week, but Furious 5's defense. When we look at this team on paper, when I look at this team on paper, I see Jesse, I see Paul, I see scoring, I see Gaffey and his grit and his hustle. I never talk about defense. And John Chatterton looked up at me a couple of times because we talked about this during our loss last week, about how Paul just breaks up every single pass across the middle.
Yep.
And there, in the first period alone, he had like 4 or 5 steals in the same spot over and over and over again. And it's just between Tim shutting down your angles and you not being able to get any passes through the middle, I think it's their defense that's winning games. I mean, they've only allowed 12 goals against is the most they've ever allowed this season. They've allowed 12, 10, 11, 9, 10, 6, and 8 this season, and that's why they're winning. It's not the score.
Who did they let in 12 to?
They let in 12 in the first week to your team.
Oh,
Zach.
Run DMC. Oh, there you go.
Was that a setup to yourself?
Well played. Well played.
No, Furious 5 is scary. The way that you go on runs in this league is having hustle players and having defense, clogging the lanes. That's all you have to have. Paradigm and Gaffey together, hustling on the same line. How are you ever going to get the puck from these guys? It's never going to happen. So they just pour it on, and then they frustrate you defensively, and you make mistakes.
Yep.
And this team is
And they
early in the year,
capitalize.
I mean, whatever, but it's how you grow and how you get better, and this team is scary.
And this is only the 3rd time all season they played as a full team.
True.
Now they're 1 and 2 as a full team, though, which is the funny thing.
Well, yeah, and then you
Yeah,
finally
that's-
get by those
that
guys,
won't
and there's
survive.
Tim Scott there. Like,
Yeah, these
oh,
guys are gonna keep
crap.
They're scary. Yeah, for sure.
And this is the only game tonight that I felt like was never close. 6 to 2 after the first, 10 to 5, or 10 to 5 after the second. It was never close. I mean, Public Enemy had a little bit of a rally
At the end.
but Paul immediately answered,
Yep.
twice, and it took just the wind out of your sails completely.
Exactly.
I don't think Public Enemy is down and out though. I think they have a lot of grit and determination. Obviously the defense there, they have the goaltending, but they're definitely going to need to find a way to score against the top-notch goaltenders in the league.
Yeah, you're right about that. They have to score among the best.
I don't think Tim Anderson should take as many Quaaludes next week.
Was that the reason?
I think he may have calmed himself down. Those horse tranquilizers really slowed him down a little.
Yeah, maybe just, I won't, no more bath salts either. So, my 3 game stars were Paul, Tim Scott, and Enright. So, I thought that the Shane there had a good game, but I thought that Enright, Tim Scott had more of an impact. Anyone else on the game?
I gave it to Shane instead of Enright, and I facilitated on it, but I really liked Shane. I just love seeing Shane do the big guy thing. It's not like he's a sneaky guy. He's there.
It's always fun when you're trying to issue stars and you sit there and think, well, who had an impact? The guy that might only get a goal and a couple assists or something like that a game, coming out with 3 and 1, it's good.
Well, Shane was delivering him at the end of the game when you guys were trying to mount a comeback. So.
All right. Sure. The 7:30 game. Why don't we go right to the 8:30 game?
I'm okay with that.
I think we have to take
Come on,
a few
guys,
minutes,
let's talk about it.
maybe
Game of the
3 or
night.
so.
This is like the Hangover Part 4 or something,
All right,
isn't it?
All right, 7:30.
We saw everything in this game.
We have the Wu-Tang Clan winning in overtime with 15 over the Roots, who finished with 14. On the Wu side, Joe Gant, 4 goals, 2 assists, a game star. John Chatterton, 7 goals, 1 assist, and a game star. Kyle A, 3 goals, 0 assists. Steve K, 1 goal, 2 assists, and a penalty minute. Bob Hartman, 0 goals, 0 assists, and a concussion. Alex P, 79% save percentage on 54 saves. Pete L, 7 goals, 0 assists, a game star, and a penalty minute.
Bullshit!
Andy, 3 goals, 2 assists that he mentioned to me in Facebook Messenger earlier today. Dang, 2 goals, 1 assist. Ian Smith.
I think Dang might still be my favorite nickname.
Mm-hmm.
Ian Smith, 0 goals, 2 assists, 3 penalty minutes. Austin, 2 goals, 1 assist, 47 saves, 76% save percentage.
Yeah, I mean, so
For Ken.
yeah, that was for Kenton. Kenton had 47 or 76%.
47, yeah.
You know, I'll start by saying that last week during the preview edition, Ramsey did kind of tongue-in-cheek say, "I bet you there's going to be a penalty minute." So I guess that came true. I don't know what to say about this game. I'll start out real short, and then we'll kick it over to the guys watching upstairs. It was chippy. It was heated. It was passionate. There was a lot of anger and angst on both sides.
Sound like you're selling a romance novel.
And it was just it wasn't the most fun game to play. Even with the win, it was I felt kind of crappy about the game afterward. I felt crappy about the way I acted, about the way that my team was, about the way the other team was. I didn't feel like it brought out the best in the Y. But at the same time, it was a 15-14 game. It went to overtime.
I feel like it was great for the fans. I'm right there with you. It was awful to play.
I mean, if we were in the NHL, I'm pretty sure that a couple of us would have a 1-game suspension next week. So.
Yeah, I'm not playing it.
So what about the guys? What about the guys watching from upstairs? What did you guys think?
Game of the week, I think. I don't know if you guys can, obviously, if you guys are on the floor. What about the rest of you? I'd have to say.
I probably would picked this as game of the week. I don't know if I
not necessarily for the quality of hockey that we saw, but for the ups and downs, for the passion. Pete Lundstedt is showing me a side of him I didn't think I'd ever see. But that's what hockey does, and that's what I love about this league, is that we can do this. I don't know what else to say about these guys. I mean, this game, it really is tough to talk about because the good things were so good, and it's what this league should be about, scoring and having a close game at the end. But there were there's some things that we have to eliminate. Referees, we have to stop bashing, getting in the faces of the referees. I think it's nice that we have them in the first place. I think they do actually a pretty good job. But the camaraderie, I think it has to come back just a little bit.
If the refs were from outside the league and/or if they were paid, I would disagree.
Sure.
But since they are both fellow league members and volunteering, I have to agree. And I'm guilty of it as well. I yelled at Tim at one point. I said, something. I probably had an expletive, and then I said, "Well, how did you not see that?" And he turned and looked at me and said, "I was watching the puck." And I was like, "Oh." Good rebuttal, good sir.
It's easy for the rage to just be outletted on the referees. Yeah. That's like kind of what they are.
In every sport
they are, but in this league, in our league, because of those reasons that you said, we can't let it get to that.
And we have to remember there's 2 refs watching 2 goals and 6 guys and 2 goalies. Like, we don't have goal judges, we don't have cameras or instant replay or anything like that, so the refs are typically watching the puck.
Yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yet, right. No cameras yet. Although, maybe Brett can put that his GoPro into one of the nets or something. It's hard to break down this game from an analysis perspective in terms of who won and who lost and how you won and how you lost, because it was even. I mean, the Roots came out in what was it, 4-0 or 5-0? I think it was 4-0 right away. Was it 5?
No, it was 4. Okay.
It was 4-0 right away, and before you could blink. I mean, you scored 3 times in the first minute. And then after that, in the second period, Wu-Tang Clan climbed back, evened it up, and then it was just back and forth. It was no more than a 1-goal lead any more the rest of the game. And then for the 3rd time this season, Wu-Tang takes it to overtime and wins it in overtime.
Yeah, John made a great play. I was really excited to get to overtime. I felt a little uncomfortable because obviously having Joe on the floor. And not having strong defense out there with Austin and I, but I figured the second we get a chance, all we need is a chance, and we would be able to score together. But Austin and I weren't able to find that opportunity. John has a great shot, shoots it through my legs, top shelf. I mean, he made a great shot to put in the net, and he had a fantastic night. I mean, 7 goals, 1 assist, 1 goal in the first period, 2 goals in the second, and 3 goals in the third. So he was really a big advocate on the reason that Wu-Tang was able to come back in this game.
I knew John was going to have a good game when he used Tim Scott, the referee, as a screen and rifled it past Fred. And I was like, oh, he meant to do that.
I don't know if it was a screen. It was almost like it was a pick. It was like in his way. He shot around him. Yeah, no, it was John. Seven goals and an assist. You're not going to lose too many games when Chatterton's putting up those kind of numbers.
But you almost did. And
We almost did.
Oh, nice.
That's why Jeremy's here.
I mean, just some things to mention. I feel like Wu-Tang is in a very vulnerable spot right now. They kind of squeaked by the past couple games. They lost one. I feel like it's definitely been humbling the past few games that they've been playing. And I'm not trying to get down on them that much, but I can say in that first string in the first period where Roots was scoring at will, I was almost like, oh, this looks like old Alex. Like, this is not looking good for them. It's not the Alex that we were used to this season. That's the thing I like about this specific season is that, you have the balance between the teams is so, it's so close that
Very close.
I feel like there's really no playoff matchup that really suits you.
Yeah.
Anybody can take any game at any time, and I feel like, Wu-Tang kind of got away with another one here. I mean,
But to your point, it's one of the craziest things about this league is that I thought this year everyone was going to be at like 5-5 or anything like that. But we're seeing the same thing as every other year. Two teams are always consistently winning. Two teams are not consistently winning, and then you have the rest of the guys in the middle. So we're seeing the same thing as every other year, even though the competition is so close. Wu-Tang has been to 3 overtime games, yet they've won every single one of them.
Let's let the season play out, though. 'Cause I get a feeling that these numbers are going to crunch themselves.
not to
again.
mention the difference that you're seeing in this league, or this season as to postseasons, is the differential.
Yeah.
Teams that are winning and are constantly winning games aren't winning them by as many as they're normally winning them in
no.
past seasons.
True. Great point.
That is a great point. I mean, Wu-Tang Clan differential is just plus 13 for a 6-win, 1-loss team. Plus 13 is not all that impressive compared to, Tribe Post Quest is a plus 24. But you look at even like the Roots down there in 6th place overall, you have a plus 2 differential.
We score a lot, we let in a lot.
Yeah.
That's
You know,
right.
I'm looking. One thing I noticed from watching the game, once the cloud of violence died down.
What violence?
No, you know what? I'm looking at how John and like Kyle were able to score as many goals, and I think that what I saw was the Roots defense. You're so focused on Joe. You're so focused on that top scorer that these other guys are coming around and doing their magic show that they do from their certain positions, and I just felt like a lot of that was uncontested. And I mean, John's numbers just prove that. I still laugh about his comment about Air Canada, though. Air Canada scores 7 goals. Everyone's like, what the fuck's wrong with him? He scores 7 goals. He probably wrote 3 letters, back to his.
Yeah.
That's where Chad is best, though. I feel like over the years, I mean, Chad's usually a second-round guy, high second-round guy, but he always thrives off the passes. Just double team my best guy, and I will score the goal for you. And I love that philosophy. We had a bet going on upstairs in overtime. We each picked a guy, and there were 3 of us. So Joe Gant got picked, Pete Lundstedt got picked, and Austin Bull got picked. Go figure, Chad's the one who scores in overtime.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes. The good players tend to cancel each other out, and then you have guys like Chad.
It's funny,
We'll finish.
when you were talking earlier about you and Austin out there and about how you were a little nervous about that because of the defense. We were nervous about it because of your offense. And it got me thinking, out of each team, I wonder who has the best duo. Now you could make the case for Wu-Tang Clan for 3-0 in overtime, but we're the only team that's played more than 1 overtime. So, I mean, I wonder who has the best duo because Joe and John are just so balanced together. You got that high speed of Joe and the offensive talent of Joe. You got the puck possession of John and that long shot.
Yeah, to me though, and this goes back to last spring, my first season in the league, and Zach winning the MVP, and his speech was, "We gotta freaking learn defense, guys. We gotta learn defense." I mean, the only teams that really win this league in the championship is defense. I mean, you look into last year where the offense was so strong, or excuse me, in the fall where offense was so strong with Paul and Gaffey and that's that Verlano team, but they got beat because another team just defended them so much better. I mean, defense wins championships, and that's really what scares me and why I was nervous coming into the game because I felt that John and Joe are going to have better defense than Austin and I, and it turned out not in my favor.
It's funny, the only team in the league that doesn't play defense is in fact Zach Davis's team.
Says Zach Davis.
Says Zach Davis.
I don't know how much you probably spent a long time in this game, much longer than I wanted to. Kenton didn't have a great night.
See, the thing is, I think he had a much better night than
Yeah, he
than
helped
what he
some.
did. I mean, to me, if I'm looking for him to be, granted it was a 76% saving percentage, but I thought his positioning was better. That's one big thing that him and I have been talking about recently is his positioning's got to be a little bit better. And the fact of the matter is we need to score 15 goals every single week. So if he lets in less than 15 goals, we should have a chance to win every single game. And unfortunately, we were right there and we missed it.
I think the beginning of the game, you had 4, maybe 5. Was it 4? Was it 5? Right in the beginning. I say that.
Yeah.
I say that, but the poise of the goaltending to sit there and kind of overcome that and be able to push through and make the comeback. I mean, a goalie can get rattled in the first couple minutes, and all of a sudden, that's an NHL. Pull the goalie, replace it with somebody else, and for the goalie to stay in there and have the poise to sit there and say it ain't over yet. Your team to fight back, and
That's a good point because we did talk about how Alex at the beginning looked kind of a little like Alex of old, but
he turned around. Yeah, he turned around.
He's mentally so much stronger.
This is the opposite of what he has been. I think this is his 3rd season or 4th season in the league, but it used to be he started hot and then got a little lackadaisical at the end. He's doing the opposite now. He's getting better as the game goes on.
Like a stadium beer.
His 3rd period was phenomenal. I thought he saved the game. He made 2 or 3 huge saves in the last 30 seconds, and then one big save in OT, and it led to their goal and their win. I think Alex needs a shout out for the 3rd period.
You're right about that. And Joe Gant had a save. Again, he jumped into the net again and blocked another shot. Jeremy, I don't remember who your game stars were. I got Joe, John, and Pete.
That's who I got too.
Any disagreement on those?
No.
I agree.
I'm so mad about the loss. I'm gonna leave. Second.
By me. All right, 8:30.
8:30 game. We have NWA with 4. Losing to a Tribe Called Quest to finish with 8. On the NWA side, we have Mike Bryant with 3 goals, 0 assists. Mike Sturgis with a goal, no assists, and the rest of the team blanked. And if you want to know who that was, Jamie Habitzer, Steve Newberry, and Dave Foss.
Wow. You know who that is.
Ryan Conco, 53 saves, 88% save percentage, and a game star. On the Tribe side, we have Mike Furlano, 2 goals, 2 assists. Jeff Burge, 4 goals, 0 assists, and a penalty minute. John Strack at it again, 1 goal, 0 assists. Pat C, 1 goal, 0 assists. Kurt B, nothing but a penalty minutes. Brett Seabrook, 43 saves, 91% save percentage, and a game star.
I'm sorry, I only got 2 of the games.
Jeff Burge.
Brett and Jeff. Yeah, well, let's start with Brett. Holy cow. I mean, in the comments there on one of the posts, Furlano said that they should rename the team the Brett Seabrook Experience, featuring a Tribe Called Quest. And, he breaks 90%.
So before I go, I think one of the biggest things that I regret when we were talking about MVP 2 weeks ago is I thought Joe was hands down the one. How did we not even talk about Brett? This guy is hands down breaking down the season, and he is the MVP of that team. He's the reason that you guys are 6-1. This guy's incredible this year. Absolutely incredible.
He's not letting anything in. He's got better position. He's not quite at Tim Scott level, but he's pretty darn close. He's got better reflexes, moves side to side better than Tim does, and he's shutting everyone down.
Timely saves, I think, need to be mentioned as well. Timely saves.
What do you mean by timely?
End of periods, especially when shifts can change as far as flow goes. He makes big saves that keeps momentum for his team. End of the periods, end of the first periods. You're only letting in 4 goals. You're making timely saves, and it leads to offense. It does. It motivates your team.
Yeah, it does. And I don't want to downplay him at all after we've been singing his praises for however long, but I do think a Tribe Called Quest has an underrated defense. They do have strong defense. They don't allow a lot of goals. They don't allow a lot of passes. They don't allow a lot of shots on goal. So Brett's definitely doing his part, but if I'm not mistaken, I think they have the fewest shots on goal allowed. So, there is something to be said for that, too. Other than that, a Tribe Called Quest. This was a close game. 8-4 doesn't sound close. It was 2-2 after the first. 3-3 after the second, and then the third period, A Tribe Called Quest just breaks it wide open, featuring Jeff Burge.
Yeah.
4 goals in the third period alone from Jeff, adding another one from the Stratocaster, and you got an 8-4 win from a game that was tied 3-3.
Yeah, well, it was an empty netter at the end, but yeah, I mean, Jeff found Tim Anderson's amphetamines and took him in the third period. Man, they kicked right in.
Yeah.
It was almost like there's something that clicks in that guy, and everyone's looking for it now because we've seen it happen once or twice. But yeah, that was a close game right up. I went out at the end of the second to get some water, and I forget who was out there asked what the score was, and I said, oh, it's 3-3. And I'm like, what is this, a fucking soccer game or what? it was. I was surprised.
So Kurt, basically the secret to all these games are that when you go and take a leak, or when you go out and get water, a team gets hot.
Yeah, and it gets really difficult when it's my team.
Yeah.
I tried to help Sugar Hill out when I was repping. I went and took a leak. I was trying to give him a hot streak there.
Everyone's waiting to get back into the court so that we can actually
Oh,
start
come on
playing.
now. I was 10 minutes past when the thing went off, or 10 seconds.
That
But
was before the third period, though, right?
For the third.
Yeah, so we started actually scoring goals in the third again, so thank you.
Yeah, see,
Oh, yeah,
it's
that's
the
true.
Kurt
actually, it was
factor.
only 2 minutes left in the
It's
third
the run of
period,
the
but I've been
end.
holding it the whole game. I had to go. And but that being said, I mean, it was a hard fought game. There's something to be said for our team doing well, but like I don't ever any of these games we've played, NWA, everyone we've gone into, I haven't felt like a surge of confidence, and I think it speaks to the level we're playing at in this league. Is that I don't feel like any one of these games is a lock. I don't go in. We played Sugar Hill, and I was thinking the odds look like they're in our favor, but it's not feeling that way, until you start getting some points on the board, and they locked us out our first period. So it's scary.
Yeah.
Scary stuff.
It's definitely an even year. But what helps you is when you outshoot your opponents 14 times. I mean, this game, A Tribe Called Quest had 61 shots on net compared to 47 from NWA. And what happened was the third period happened. Because it was pretty even through the first two. And then in the third period, A Tribe Called Quest had 24 shots on goal, and NWA only had 15 in that period. And that's where you scored 5 goals compared to NWA's 1. I mean, that was close. It was tight. I don't know if NWA just ran out of gas. I mean, they were at full strength. They had enough guys on the bench. It looked like they weren't like tired per se, but they lost their mojo.
I know Mike and Mike were talking about they were gassed in the third. But I think because they were working some serious overtime trying to score. Obviously you play Mike and Mike, we got to shut these guys down because they're a dangerous duo. You're talking about dangerous duos in this league. They're one of them. And so we had a game plan. All this talk of getting out game plan really got in our heads. We're like, let's not get out game plan because there's obviously like game plans floating out there, and we're notorious for not having one. So we actually tried to have one.
Furlan was the one that threw you under the bus on that one.
Yeah.
So. I mean, but you have to expect more out of Jamie, Steve, and Dave. You have to expect more out of those three. Those three are not slouches. I mean, it's one of the best rounded teams in the league in terms of skill, top to bottom. And for Jamie, Steve, and Dave to all get blanked, I mean, that's the difference in the game.
Yeah, but I still love Steve's game. I love Steve's defense. I think that he contributes in ways other than the score sheet. I think maybe better than anybody else. He's improved so much defensively.
I'm in complete agreement.
It's his knowledge. Because he's always a hard worker. Always. He's always a pain in the ass to play against. But he's the kind of guy that has gotten significantly smarter with blocking passes, with positioning.
Yeah.
You used to be able to give him like a little 1-2 and he would run by you and then you got the whole play in front of you. But now he stops, he's smart with his stick. I really liked his game, especially in this game actually, and I know that he didn't put up on the score sheet, but I don't think that's his job to.
And I absolutely agree with you on that one too, because Steve, I think, is underrated in how much better he's gotten.
Absolutely.
I don't know if he's underrated as a player, but he's underrated in his improvement. Because I was talking to someone the other day about my 8-seed team of me, Paul Paradon, Steve Newberry, and Jamie Hansworther.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, well, how are you guys the 8 seed with Jamie and Steve? I'm like, well, this was before Jamie was Jamie and before Steve was Steve.
Absolutely.
He's gotten a lot better.
It's the speed. It's like him and I think Tim Anderson just get better faster.
Yeah.
I think they've improved the most within the last few seasons. That's what I've seen. Really like Anderson's game.
But still, is it just the Brett Siebert factor that Jamie and Dave Fosen aren't scoring, or is it the defense for them only putting up 47 shots on net? And 47 in our league is not a lot.
I gotta give Brett props. He did have like 2 or 3 blocked shots off of his helmet.
Yeah.
Now there was a GoPro attached to it. I was waiting for some controversy to come out. But you look at him and you just see him. It's like he runs with a rhinoceros. And it'll just be like, dang, the puck flies away. I'm like, how does he know to move his head right then? It's awesome to see. He's got great reflexes.
But he's not stopping shots on goal. Like he's not. He's stopping shots on goal. He's not reducing the amount of shots on goal. I mean, was it just your defense?
Yeah, but
back
see,
47?
I think that he is. I think that Siebert, because he sucks it in so well, because he's not a rebound goalie, I really think that 20 shots a game are off of rebounds.
Yeah.
Because we shoot, and then you can get 2, 3, maybe even 4 chances off of one shot that gets through because it hit a goalie's pad or because he didn't handle it. Siebert sucks it in, and Alex has gotten better at it too. But he can catch it, and then maybe there's a rebound, but he stops that, and then it's over.
Is he the best goalie in the league at not letting up rebounds?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would agree with that.
Yes, I think that's what makes him the best goalie in the league right now. I think that's the difference. I mean, his positioning is great, but I don't know if any single aspect of his game is better than anybody else's that I can pick out as far as our goalies go.
You can make an argument for Kenton because it goes in off the first shot.
Yeah, there's no rebound.
That was harsh. He leaves, and Jeremy immediately goes for the jugular on the roots.
Jeremy sits over here. He lurks. He's like a moray eel. He sits in his rock, and then he's.
I've been called worse, Kurt.
I'm not even sure what that is, so I don't know if it
Moray
is.
eel. It's kind of sexy.
Well, on that note, I disagree on my game stars a little bit. I gave all 3 to a Tribe Called Quest. I went for Lano, Jeff, and Brett. I thought Conco had a good game. I don't want to slight him for it, but for Lano, okay, he was 2-2 on the stat sheet, but you want to talk about, contributing other than the stat sheet. The guy controls the puck, he controls the tempo, he controls the possession. He makes people come to him, and that frees up the rest of the team. So I had to give him a nod on that one.
Dude's got to take 25 shots a game, I swear. I mean, he is always shooting. It's always in the same spot right in front of the net. Yeah, he's a tough player to play against.
I just gave it to Conco over Furlano just because Conco really did frustrate. That was my reasoning. Because I had Mike, and then I'm like, Conco really did frustrate the hell out of us, so I got to give it to him. Because he was back to the old Conco.
Yeah, well, if the third period didn't happen,
the third period. But I mean, at the beginning of that game, that was the Conco we're used to seeing.
It's funny we're saying new and old for these goalies, like it's.
Well, it's only a season.
Right, exactly. But, no, I thought Conco played well. He gave up, I think, 1 or 2 iffy ones in the third, and that might have led to defensive breakdowns. But I would have given one to Mike.
Bose had a nice saving goal.
Yeah.
For
that's right.
NWA.
Oh, I'm supposed to call out that Fose's save percentage was only 50% on the night, and therefore he was the worst goalie on the night. Although, in all fairness, he wasn't wearing any pads. Anything else on this game? All right, let's move into 9:30.
9:30. We have the Sugar Hill Gang with 11, falling to Run DMC with 14. On the Sugar Hill side, we had Gianni with 5 goals, 1 assist, and a game star. Kevin Baldwin, 1 goal, 1 assist. Jeremy Raging Bonet, 2 goals, 3 assists. Kevin Parker, 1 goal, 0 assists. Dave King, 2 and 1. Steve Schultz, 46 saves, 77% save percentage. On the run side, Zach Davis, 9 goals, 0 assists, and a game star. Brian D, 4 goals, 1 assist, and a game star. Chris Matchbox 20, 1 goal, 3 assists. Rob Maston, 1 assist and half a tooth. And Jerry Wagner did not play. John Ramsey, 60 saves, 85% save percentage. Sorry.
60 saves, 85% save percentage. They shot the puck a lot.
Yeah, they that was one of my notes. 71 shots on goal from Sugar Hill Gang, and they were saying to me afterwards. They said, you've been saying that we're not shooting enough, we're getting outshot. We shoot the puck 71 times and we still lose.
Mm.
So I mean, we got 2 guys that played in the game here. Do you guys want to break it down to start us out, Jeremy or Zach?
Yeah, I think Ramsey was the difference.
I think both our wins, Ramsey has been the difference. If he's got a save percentage at 85 and we're giving up 71 shots, we still have a chance to win. I mean, that doesn't make much sense, but I think this game goes to Ramsey. What do you think?
I mean, he definitely was a big factor. I didn't, I don't know what was going on in my head in the game. I didn't really notice it, but after the game, G made a point to tell me like Ramsey robbed you at least 3 or 4 times in that second period. And I'm thinking like maybe he did. I felt like I had an off night. I mean, it's the tale of Sugar Hill Gang. I mean, there's really, I don't know what else we can say outside of the second period is what kills us every single game.
Yeah, 5-4 after the first in favor of Sugar Hill Gang. Sugar Hill Gang then scores 0 goals on 19 attempts in the second period, and Run DMC scores 5 goals, all 5 of which coming from Zach. So 5-4 lead after the first, and then all of a sudden you're facing a 5-9 deficit after the second, and then you win the third. You win the third 6-5 for the third period to get to your final score of 11-14.
And honestly, like I feel like just playing the game, we played a really good. We played a decent first period, and a lot of us, I feel like we're holding back a little bit more in the first period because we know how the second periods go, and then I feel like for the beginning part of the second period we did all right. I feel like all of those goals came in the second half of the second period where they just kind of took advantage and they jumped on it, and they all came fairly quick within each other. Like it was almost like they went on like a rush and scored 5 quick ones.
You keep saying they. It was Zach. So he all of a sudden went on a rush. So speaking of which, Zach, I mean, is that right? I mean, did you score all 5 real quick? I mean, do you remember that at all?
I don't really remember now when those things happen.
I
do know
remember because I was roughing it. You scored 3 or 4 right in a row, and it was.
Was it like the later part of the second period?
Yeah, I think it was like right in the middle of it, and you did it, and it was a momentum shift, and every time
That's
you did
what
it,
it
you show
is.
the shoulders sag a little more.
Yeah.
I hope that someday I'm so good that I forget scoring 5 goals in a row. Like, I mean, I hope that at some point when I score 5 unanswered goals.
Oh, I'm going home
and I
and
don't
rubbing one
remember.
out right away if that happens.
Oh, I'm gonna take like Instagram photos on the court.
Might not even
Remember
go
we did
home and do
selfies.
It's hard to do. Try it.
I might not want to go in the bathroom right after I do that. All right.
I think I remember momentum shifts more than anything, and yeah, we had a big one in the second half of the second period, definitely. If you can get momentum shifts, and that's
So I had the play of the night going to Alex for a kick save that he had on a breakaway that Pete had, and then all of a sudden John Ramsey comes out of nowhere 5 minutes into the second period, robs Gianni on a breakaway with his glove. I pretty much wanted him to just like shove it in his face.
Everyone
Look
was
what I just got.
cheering for it.
That probably was what I think everybody probably looked at and was like, okay.
I wasn't cheering
It's the
because I
momentum.
couldn't speak. I was at a loss.
Even
for words.
Gianni gave him props. That's how you know how freaking epic it was.
Fucking
Gianni was like,
I can tell you that Gianni, we probably could have been a contender for the play of the week if Gianni would have scored on the first shot. There was one time where I was bringing it down on a couple.
Oh,
days
yeah, I
ago,
remember that.
chipped it forward to him and he fucking blew it.
Whiff.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean,
He did score on his own rebound, so I mean he didn't really blow it, but it didn't look as pretty as it could have.
So you're calling out your teammate for no reason? Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
dude.
Because he robbed you of
Pretty
an
much.
assist.
Like I said, I do this podcast to motivate teams, so I guess I gotta start shit talking us.
Get out
So
of your
that-
own team.
Well-
Yeah, that's what I'm going for here.
So,
I'm waiting to hear your picks for next week.
You're keeping your strategy for the 8 seed here, which
I know, Steve's called it. You guys are setting yourselves up well.
You guys came on in the end. You guys have a decent team.
They have a great team. More than half of their goals were assisted.
It just
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like they were
exactly.
slouches. They score 11 freaking goals.
It's
with
just that
6 of which
second
assisted.
period deficit you get yourself into. It's like the
Well,
nail in the
that's-
coffin. It's like if it wasn't like a 5-goal
That's what
deficit.
happens. I feel like that second period is in our head where like teams start to score and we totally
It's
forget
a
how to play our
self-fulfilling
offensive
prophecy,
game.
man.
So we're like, oh fuck, we gotta score. There was hustle plays that I was trying to make that I have no fucking business trying to do. Like I'm
Right.
trying to one-handed off the wall to myself and
Yeah, you
fucking.
were.
I'm like, what is happening?
You look like a man. You look like one of those wind-up things.
Yeah.
You know, like when all of a sudden you just kind of start
I'm
going across the really short period
I'm
of
going hard
time.
for like 35 seconds and then I'm fucking almost dying and I have to get off the
Speaking of
field.
one-handed, I saw Mr. Zach run up and he just laid out with like what he reminded me of a water skier going out around a pylon because he just stuck his stick out and he still shot it on goal with like 3 times the speed I could ever generate. And he did it one-handed. It just was awesome to see. I mean, it rebounded off, but I mean the fact that you had the clarity of mind to make that shot.
I haven't had a girlfriend in a while, so I got really good wrists. I can do anything with these guys now.
Well,
so.
you know, it's funny you bring that up though because Zach, I think, was on. You know, and it's not like Zach's a bad player. He's always good. He's always, you know, going to be a difference maker. He almost always gets a game star. But he was on. After the game, Steve said,
Yeah.
I just couldn't stop Zach. And, like, kind of shaking his head. I go, nobody can stop Zach when he's on like that. Like, there was something, I don't know if it was mental or what, but there was something in, like, you could see it on the court. You were going to win that game. Like, it was and you took it over. I mean, you scored 9 goals of the 14, the only 5 goals in the second. Like, you took over the game.
I think that happens when I'm confident in what's going on behind me. And I was that game with Ramsey. It's tough when we're giving up a lot of goals and I get frustrated and I can't score it and then I get indecisive. I play defense. Oh no, wait, I play in transition. I want to pass a lot. Oh no, wait, I should actually shoot and try to get us back into the game. It's when I get indecisive. But when you got plays behind you being made by Ramsey, it's easy. It's easy to take over at times like that. It really is.
But I'll take your word for it.
You just feed off your teammates.
The other side of things that I have to call out is I thought Steve had a decent game. You know, things getting better. You know, I feel like people think that maybe I overplay the rookie goaltender thing, but you forget that I was a rookie goaltender, and I had a terrible rookie season. I won most improved my rookie season just throughout the year, which, going back to a point we had in an earlier podcast, at some point we actually did have most improved both season to season or within the season.
Sure.
So I won most improved that season, and I won most improved again the next season, I think it was, because, you know, it's still, you just get better as a goalie.
So long as we're at this point, let's knock this out of the way here. Talking about awards and how we're opening up again. I think that's a good idea as far as MVP and winning it twice. It should be open to voting every single season with no limitations. Yeah. I like the direction that we went.
So, in case you're kind of not clear, we've decided as a league that we're no longer going to bar anybody from being eligible for any awards. So if you've won a trophy it's named after you at this point, you know, everybody's eligible for any award. I don't think any floor players are going to win goalie of the year, but
Post is going to try.
Yeah, Post currently has a save. Joe Gant's got 2 saves. Yeah. Joe Gant's save percentage is 100% right now. No, you know what, and of course we would do that, and I completely support the decision. But of course we do that the year that we might actually have a goalie as MVP. And so now you got Paul back in the mix. Zach, I don't know if you were ineligible or not, but you know, either way, now Zach's eligible, everyone's eligible.
It's actually kind of funny because last night in the parking lot, just talking to a few guys there, asking who their thought of MVP at this point in the season was, and most people were saying goalies. And I don't know if there's ever been a goalie winning MVP. The answer is no, there hasn't been a goalie win MVP ever. But, you know, I feel like that's where everybody's kind of leading towards.
I think that's an influencing factor too, just the fact that nobody's ever won one. I don't know if there's a goalie that you can say is more influential to their team than any single player, especially the way that Joe and even Pete's playing this year.
It came close a couple of times. I think Donko and Mark both were up there.
Yeah, it ought to. But we got 3 games left, remember?
Yeah.
So, you know, we got to have this play out.
70% done. You still have another 30% to go.
Absolutely.
And to Steve, to finish the idea here on the goalies, Steve did have 2 own goals scored on him by Kevin Baldwin.
Kevin Baldwin.
Yeah. You know, it's tough. And not, I shouldn't say own goals scored on him. They were both deflected off.
Kevin Baldwin is a great player. He just gets bad bounces, I guess. I don't know what's going on with him.
His defense is a thing of beauty to watch.
It is a thing of beauty.
I mean,
he was saying that he thinks Kevin's only had 1 loss each of the 2 seasons he's played in before now. I didn't fact check that, but Pete thought that 2 seasons ago, Kevin's rookie season, they went 9-1, and then last season, Kevin's team went 9-1, and so already now he's 0-8. Like, this has got to be a huge mental shift for him.
Well, as we're speaking, somebody's looking it up on the website right now because it's been put together by Post so eloquently.
we can pull that up.
Yeah,
we
we're
pull it
totally
up
immediately. We're lazy, and my hands are in chips and pretzels and peanuts and all sorts of other good
Your
stuff.
pants.
My pants. My game starters were Gianni, Zach, and Ramsey. I didn't write down what the stat keeper had.
I had D'Angelo over Ramsey because I'm adamant about the 90% of your goalie you want a game star.
Or 90% is for a weak star. I mean, 80%, 85% in a game like this has got to be a game.
I would think the game stars tend to be more what control the momentum of the game or affected the outcome of the game, and I think it'd be hard pressed to not give that to Ramsey.
If D'Angelo didn't score 4 goals, we win. So.
That's true. Another quiet 4 goal. At the end of the game, I'm like, D'Angelo had 1 and 1 tonight. He didn't, man. And then you look it up and it's 5 and 2.
No.
So
or
it's not
something.
just Peter.
No, it's his own
team that's like, wait, well,
Yeah.
how many?
Quietly, you just forget about
And he
it.
took a lot of shots too. I mean, he was putting in a lot of shots, and he was also running a lot in the first half of the game, back and forth.
First half of the game.
Yeah. Hey, I think that could be said for half the league. We run real
It's
hot
true.
for the first half of the
Yeah,
game.
certainly our team. I thought D'Angelo played great.
I think
I see that they're all on one
D'Angelo
side again.
played great and even got hurt. I'd like to put a shout out to one of our sponsors, Smilek, the floor hockey pucks. They also make gloves. So Brian D'Angelo, you got knocked twice in the knuckles. You had to go out in the intermission, get some stitches, come back. You were playing.
They actually also make floor hockey shoes.
Oh.
Do they really?
Yeah, it's weird.
Oh, man.
I don't know that I would wear them, but
Yeah, he kept like
Yeah, he
shaking
would.
his hand like,
Yeah.
wow. I'm like,
He would
dude,
hold
why
his
do you
finger
gotta
up.
wear gloves? And after what happened to Rob Maston tonight, I'm gonna wear mouth guard next week too.
I'm coming full hockey.
How did this? Does anybody know how this happened exactly?
The tooth?
I was on the floor. I was right. I still didn't see what
I
happened.
was reffing right behind it, and I saw Rob just go charging.
Somebody
towards the
said
goal
goalie
net.
stick. Did anybody know about
No.
But
that?
I didn't see any stick up in the air. I
Steve
just
hit
saw.
his stick with Steve's stick, but Steve doesn't know if that's what did it. I'd like to ask Rob, but we're yelling from upstairs like, do you know what a high stick penalty is? But I was talking with Steve afterward, and Steve was saying, well, you're not sure that it was not his own stick that was getting
Yeah.
hit.
Very well could.
I'm not-
Because he was charging in really hard, and that's what I thought. I
Yeah.
thought he
On
hit
the
something.
second one, it was tough to call from the high stick and losing. Oh, by the way, here's his chiclets. It's a Mentos broken out.
Nice.
Matt just dropped parts of tooth on the table.
But the first one, it was a clear slap across the cheek, and I could definitely see where it came from. But credit to the refs. I mean, you're watching so many different things.
Watching the
You
puck.
can't, you can't sit there and get every call.
being on the Sugar Hill gang, I was shocked that he took 2 sticks to the face and
Not
we
one.
didn't get a single call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even the second one, you didn't get a sympathy call.
Yeah.
Like you got his tooth knocked out. All right.
Yeah. It's already fixed up. If you haven't seen it yet, go to the Facebook page. You can see the picture. I honestly will be wearing a mouth guard next week because I'm not screwing around with that.
Yeah,
My dental's not great, man.
I already had to get a root canal on my one front tooth because I got hit in the face. So
Yeah,
I went to the
yeah.
dentist and they asked, "Do you ever get hit in the face?" I said, "Oh yeah, all the time. Like at least once a week, but more often than not once a day."
And then I go to hockey.
Yeah,
You know what? That was actually one of my, where is it? The Dan Gladding Broken Face Award, sponsored by Delta Dental. It goes to Rob Maston. For those of you who haven't figured out by now, lost parts of 2 different teeth.
The avatar is perfect.
Yeah. You might have heard us giggling earlier in the podcast. It's because D'Angelo texted Pete the avatar for Rob, and it's pretty awesome. What about the 3 stars of the week, Stat Keeper?
3 stars of the week. I got Paul P, John C, Zach Davis.
I've got John and Zach, but I got Brett over Paul.
I had Brett.
And I hate to give Paul the slight here because Paul had, he had, 9 points or something. He had a great week, but I don't think he was it's hard to say he wasn't the difference in the game. He's the difference in every game. And maybe this is Paul bias, just expecting greatness from him. But that game wasn't that close. The game, was already kind of out of hand. He could have done a couple of less goals and still won, but I feel like Brett was the difference in the Tribe Called Quest as he usually is. So I have to give one to Brett. Other game stars of the week. Kurt, you said you had Brett.
I agree. I
Who you
think being
taking
up
from?
against
Taking from Paul, John.
Yeah, from Air Canada. I just thought being up against Brian and Sturgis and standing tall was pretty impressive.
We got to give Ramsey a look, guys,
Yeah. I want to make a
for the
goal.
week.
Yeah.
Yep,
Who you
absolutely.
taking it from if you give it to
Me.
him?
Me.
So,
That was easy.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah,
his
let's
saves
take it from the
create
guy who
goals. I
scores
feel
9
like.
goals.
Yeah, I mean, I think your second period performance alone, would get a game.
Defense
a week
leads to
start
offense, guys. The only reason I'm good is because the defense is good. Seriously.
Yeah, well,
Start watching it
I don't
next
doubt
week.
that because your defense is not good.
from him. So that brings Zach's game star count down to only 48.
No, my game stars are the only ones that
49.
count.
Oh yeah. And Jeremy actually just gives himself all the game stars every week. He just says that.
I don't think I've had a game star this season. So,
Matt, who are your stars of the week? Did you have?
I had it that I'm gonna just because of the lights out play of John Ramsey and I
You
agree
think
with
it's Ramsey
that.
too?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean,
You're gonna take it from me too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, good.
Because you said it.
9 freaking goals. The guy needs a game star. Like,
The only
if
reason
you have 9 goals in a blowout, I'm giving you a weak star.
I had it.
Let alone like
Whose
9
house? Rams's house.
So Paul's got to be up there because that's the only guy in this league that really cares about his stats. So if we-
Yeah, let's all just take away from Ramsey and Zach and give them all to Paul.
so
We better.
sorry,
All right.
I will say as well, for Steve, on the goaltending side, Bob, you said it correctly. A rookie goaltender, it's difficult. It's difficult to understand where the pucks are coming from, where they're going to bounce, the speed of play. I don't have stats or facts to back it up. I actually think Ramsey, maybe in his first year as the goaltender, wasn't the best. And look at what we're talking now. Stellar goaltender that's fighting for stars in the game. So.
I've played for 13 seasons and still can't block pucks. So
the thing with Ramsey, and I don't want to shit on him because he's had a good game here. And Zach, you're right. The 2 games you won, he was the difference. You could make the argument that the 5 you lost, he was part of the difference.
Sure.
Or some of them, not all 5, but some of them he was. And so yeah, I think he's made big improvements. And I gave him a game star for the week, but not a week star because you gotta be consistently good to be, I think, most improved or to really show that.
Sure, but I don't know if you got to be consistently good just to be a week.
No,
start of the
not
week,
for start of the week, but I just, I don't think he was the difference between you winning and losing the game more than you were the difference.
Saying it's a weak star, you're kidding.
Double negative, right?
Anyway, we're probably spending too much time on the start of the week. Something
Yeah,
that
we gotta
doesn't
get
matter. It's
this
like
this
who's
along.
on
Now we're
the-
gonna break our hour threshold, and who knows
we
what?
can't
We'll
do
rip a
that.
hole in the time-space continuum or something.
We wouldn't want that to happen.
Play of the week.
Play of the week. I think 3 of us have the same play of the week. It sounds like it was Ramsey robbing Gianni blind. I mean, for those of you who didn't see it, Gianni's coming down on a fast break on the left side. He looks like he's going to start to do his typical Gianni kind of toe drag, left, right, left, stick
just kind
maneuver.
of push it through this 5-hole.
Yeah, and instead he rips a really quick, super fast release on this just little wrister that is, I don't know, I didn't see it go in because it didn't, but it looked like a great position. Top right hand corner.
It was labeled.
And Ramsey just flashes the leather, grabs it, looks at Gianni, drops the puck down, even had a little bit of attitude to it, and it was just and before the game I said to Ramsey, I said, you gotta give me a play of the week, because I don't think I have one yet. And I was looking down at him, and I was like, you did it! And he was fixated on Gianni.
That was like the hockey
Right.
equivalent of a bitch slap.
Yeah, it was. Some goalies, will catch it low and then do the mid-wheel or the windmill just for dramatic effect.
Yeah.
No, he
The puck
literally
was
caught it.
above his shoulder, going into the top corner of the net, and he ripped his hand up and grabbed it. It was unbelievable.
It was one of the best plays of the season.
Yeah,
It was awesome.
I think so.
Because nobody was between Gianni and Ramsey. And Gianni
Yeah,
decided,
great play.
Gianni made the right choice.
figure.
He decided to do that quick rip because Ramsey was getting ready to backpedal into the net. And it just...
It was nice.
I was reffing that, and I was ready to blow the whistle for the goal, and then I blew it for a completely different reason.
Kurt, Matt, and I think all had that as our play of the week. Is that right? Zach, was that yours or
Yeah, hands down.
Jeremy,
Right.
a different one?
Yes. My play of the week is the Patsy floater goal. There was a
over
Conco.
over
Yeah.
Conco.
Oh yeah.
I had
Yeah.
I had it noted down.
Yeah.
Conco was mad at himself, but it was all Pat.
Yeah,
I mean, it was just a little
Kind of
flip up.
Conco stops the puck, it's sitting there right in front of his stick on the ground, and Pat just kind of flicks it up over him into the net.
Yeah, it was a sweet goal.
It looked like a parabola or something. It was crazy. It was just it was that perfect little All right.
The best part about it was no ladies in the stands.
Yeah. No, as soon as he scored it, I was looking around. I was like,
No lady.
"Where's the lady? Where's the lady? Where's the lady?" Because that was awesome, and nobody there. I mean, this guy's hurting his rep. A couple of awards of the week. I already gave you the Dan Gladding Broken Face Award. The Set Your Alarm Clock Award, sponsored by Timex, goes to Austin Bull. He didn't show up until halfway through the game.
And he had detention after school.
Yeah.
Well, Conklin did say in his preview that we weren't going to let him play until he finished his homework. So he thought that he had the 8:30 game, and he ended up having the 7:30 game. So he thought he was showing up early, and it was halfway through.
I thought it was because his mom heard there was swearing in the podcast. I thought we couldn't play in the league anymore.
Maybe it was some graphic pictures.
I know. I shouldn't have put
That
him in
dude's
that
got
ball. I
high
shouldn't have put him in
ceiling.
the ball gag for that picture. That probably pushed it over.
Well, you know what's unfair is that we totally rip on him for being so young. I have no idea how old he actually is, but he's just become that
Who is
caricature.
he? Yeah. True.
I have no idea.
High ceiling. There's a lot of talent in that little guy.
There
a lot
is.
of talent.
Oh, there
He's got
is.
great hands.
He's quick.
Yeah, he's fun. He's fun.
The Navy SEALs Quiet Assassin Award goes to Jeff Burge. The guy just like,
More than nowhere.
he's just consistently good, and then all of a sudden, boom, 4. And I didn't even believe it until I looked at the stat sheet because he's just that good. And the Gandhi Award for Nonviolence, ironically sponsored by the Call of Duty Black Ops 3, goes to Andy Galvin for being probably the only guy in that entire game who wasn't angry, or not like visibly angry and volatile. Kyle Antilla kind of gets a runner-up on that because it never looked like he was like angry, ready to cross-check someone.
Sometimes I wonder if Kyle knows what's going on.
Kyle is always smiling. He's out there and he's just smiling. He reminds me of the Joker. He's like,
but the rest, the entire two other teams were ready to cut each other's throats, and,
Yep.
and Andy and Kyle both were just practicing pacifism.
I thought they were gonna let lions out into the Coliseum at a certain point.
It turns out, though, if you short Andy to assists, that non-violence goes away. And then the Jeremy, I think you have an award for us?
Oh yeah, the Jan Brady, middle of the game, totally
Second period.
second period slump to the Sugar Hill Gang.
And they won that award 7 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I guarantee you nobody will take that award from us.
No, 7 times running. I don't think we have time for rebuttals this podcast. You'll have to listen to the preview edition to hear your rebuttals.
Way to tease it, Bob.
Yeah, that's right. So Kurt, do you have a question for us?
Sure.
to finish
Yes, I do. All right, guys. Here's the question. It's an easy one because it only needs 2 people. You're on the YMCA. You're on the men's hockey
Rochester
league.
Floor Hockey.
Yeah, Rochester Floor Hockey League's private jet flying over. You're the only one on it because you're flying to an Expo game that you're not playing in.
Like the
And it crashes.
Like a Montreal.
It crashes. You land on an island. Actually, you're not the only one on it.
So it's
Who's
1984.
stuck on the island with you? And who's gonna rescue you?
Who is stuck on the island?
Yeah, who are you
with us?
stranded with for
So who are
possibly a couple days to a couple months? And then who's the guy who's the knight in shining armor who comes and rescues everyone?
Alright. I want to be stuck with Conco. He's going to have a record and we can listen to something.
So you have a record.
He's,
player.
Yeah.
he's falling on the plane with his record player in his hand. Like,
Yeah, his album's under one and his record player on the other. It's going to be like a xylophone or whatever those things where you got to crank it. And I'm being saved by Superman.
Like the
Of course.
RCA dog.
Who's Superman?
Oh.
Joe!
Oh, Joe Gant. Oh,
Flying
fuck
into
him.
nowhere to save me. He's not going to be able to lift me, but he could at
Hey,
least call for
Superman.
help.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna say that I'm stranded on an island, and I'm just gonna be Paul parodying because he lives there.
In Canada.
Like
for
he
the Expo
he
game.
just lives there.
That's who I was thinking originally.
And I feel like if anybody's surviving in the wilderness,
Yeah.
it's fucking Paul.
It's a bearded beast.
This guy, I'm sure he's strangled salmon before.
Out of his mouth.
Saved. We're gonna be saved by. I'm going old school. Austin Hancock.
Yeah.
Oh.
He flies in.
Throwback jersey.
You're using your signal mirror, and all of a sudden, up in the distance,
He
there's
flies-
the
he flies
plane.
planes, so
The
it makes
plane,
sense.
boss. The plane.
Well, for those of you who don't know, Austin used to play in the league.
Yeah, he doesn't play the
No,
season.
he's a pilot.
He's a pilot.
Jeremy loves going back into the
What if he
animals.
was flying He might have been flying the private
shit.
jet.
You said there's
Actually.
only one person on the plane.
Yeah,
I did, and then I corrected that. Yeah, I know. I kind of screwed the pooch on that one. Sorry. All right. What about you, Zach?
I'm stuck with Kevin Baldwin because we would listen to Led Zeppelin the whole time. And that would be fantastic with me. And Bob Hartman saves us because he resembles Clark Kent more than anybody that I think I know.
I wouldn't hold your breath.
So
I got LASIK. I'm gonna say I'm stranded with Mike Bryant because I just think that there's no way there's a more uplifting guy in the league to be stranded with. Like, I would never lose hope if the two of us were like on an island together. Like, he would just like keep, encouraging me and
man, do you have his number, Bob? Or
yeah, well, on speed dial.
Yeah.
And then I I'm gonna say Mike Sturgis saves us. Or I'm gonna go with an NWA theme for this question. Because I just feel like Sturgis is a badass, and he would just like kick down doors, be like, all right, fuck this, we're going, guys. Let's
How
go.
many doors are on this island?
Yeah.
Hey, you didn't specify what kind of island it was, okay?
It's like a loss. Yeah, after we go and enter our numbers in
He's stranded
every day.
on Ellis Island.
They were metaphorical doors, guys.
Ellis Island.
Swim to Manhattan.
Just had to wait for the ferry.
Is that a Lebanese joke? Is that what it is?
No.
All right. So either way, Mike and
Alright.
Mike are my two guys.
That works. Well, I'm stranded with Andy Gobbin because when we're falling out of the plane, he looks over at me with a sly grin and he's like, "Hey, look at this case I've got. He's got the best beers." We land there. We open up a tiki
So
bar.
you're falling, and he's giving you a slide grin about you.
What? Well, the island we land on is like we actually land on like an hedonism resort. It's awesome. And then you know who saves us?
This
Yeah.
is why I asked the question.
Yeah. No, I just thought of this now. I'm just totally pulling this out of my butt because then Dave Foes rose up and he's like, "What's up, guys? I was just out training. He's on a new crew team. It's a new sport he took up. He's out. He's all fit and ripped and yelling, and we hear him coming.
No, you definitely
Yeah.
hear him coming.
Yeah, and he saves the day for us. So
Matt, are you the last one here?
No, you already
Oh,
won.
you already won?
Yeah, everybody has everybody.
and it's mostly because you stole my Air Canada one. I totally pictured Air Canada being like Robinson Crusoe. It's like there's like catwalks and tree houses.
I'm
and
pretty
stuff.
sure he has a volleyball that looks like Wilson somewhere.
All
right.
On that note, thanks for listening to the Week 7 recap edition of the Circle of Jerks. Is it Wednesday yet?